I'm right. I know I'm right. You know I'm right. I know you know I'm right. I'll ask you, and you're going to tell me I'm right. I'll also tell you you're right about me being right because I'm right. Now we can both be happy. Am I right? If not, I'm going to unfriend you. In short, this is confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a type of cognitive bias that involves favoring information that confirms one's beliefs or biases. Not only does it involve the favoring of certain information, but it also alters how people perceive and recall information. For example, people who support a certain political candidate will be inclined to search for information that presents their candidate in a positive way. They will also interpret news stories about their candidate in ways that sustain their existing beliefs and remember events in ways that reinforce their way of thinking. In our modern era, it is easier than ever before to fall victim to confirmation bias. An opinion just like yours is only a matter of clicks away, and an opposing opinion is just as easy to click away from. Take these news headlines, for example. Trump's plan to dismember government from CNN, Paul Ryan encouraged by reports that millions would lose insurance under GOP plan from the Huffington Post, savage, GOP traders blocking Trump from InfoWars. These titles each target a person with a specific bias. By targeting a person with a specific bias, these media organizations are not only getting more clicks, but are also feeding you your own personal confirmation bias. It's common to see people get their news from only one news source. Every day, they will use their TV station or website of choice to get their news from, and they will usually never find an article on these websites with opinions differing from their own. This is one of the major issues of our society today. Instead of being more open-minded and inquisitive, many people would rather hear an opinion much like their own. People will just stick with their status quo, not even making an attempt to look beyond what confirms their beliefs. Even worse, many people will get their news from websites like Reddit or Facebook, where fabricated stories lurk on every page. A study from the 2016 Pew Research Center found that 6 in 10 Americans get their news from social media, 44% from Facebook alone. This leaves people very vulnerable to confirmation bias. Websites like Facebook will track a user's searches, their likes and dislikes, to try to match them with content that they like. Take my Facebook feed, for example. I'm a tennis player, and I love dogs. So if you look at my news feed, you won't see posts about politics or news. Instead, when I open up my news feed, I see posts about the latest tennis news and funny dog videos. To me, this feature is beneficial. I don't have to actively seek out the content that I enjoy consuming. However, to someone that is more, say, political on their Facebook, this feature could have more adverse effects. For people who get their news off Facebook, this feature essentially feeds users bias-confirming articles. So, when a person thinks that they may be choosing from a wide swath of news coverage, they're actually choosing from news posts that correspond with what Facebook believes is their preferred type of article. This dramatically narrows the mind of people who get their news in this fashion. They get completely isolated from the other side of every story. This is most likely a large part of the cause for the recent spike in polarization amongst the American electorate. From 1994 to 2014, the political climate has gotten more and more partisan. This didn't occur because the right went too far right or the left went too far left. It occurred because of the phenomena of confirmation bias. People on both sides of the aisle started to get so ingrained in their beliefs that rather than working through problems to reach middle ground, it's become a my way or the highway situation in American politics. Along with that, many people are actually personally offended when their ideals are challenged at all. Last year, while political tensions were running high, it was very likely that you would see a post like, if you support blank, then just a friend. While having a group of friends that fully agree with you on every subject is great, that only worsens the issue of confirmation bias. It becomes a vicious cycle. This all seems pretty bad, but the good news is that confirmation bias can be easily overcome. It doesn't involve changing political views or your friends. It's just about changing the way you view your biases and how you collect information. The hardest change in overcoming confirmation bias is acknowledging that it affects you. Once you come to terms with this fact, you can liberate yourself from the narrow-mindedness of confirmation bias. You have to actively seek out both sides of every argument or story, avoiding the tendency to go with sensational headlines, and instead taking the time to understand conflicting and often overwhelming information. The only way to break through confirmation bias is to read information that is challenging to your beliefs from reliable sources. I'm not saying that you have to stop watching your favorite news channel or put down your favorite newspaper. You just have to do some more research into stories or read from news sources that have different biases from your own. And while this may take a few minutes out of your day, having an informed and educated opinion will make you a better you. Thank you.